Capricorn season. Thanks for tuning in to the Embodied Astrology podcast. I'm Renee Sills. I'm a consulting astrologer, embodiment educator, and the creator of Embodied Astrology. If you enjoy my readings, make sure to order your 2025 Year Ahead Expanded Horoscope now. These 2-hour Embodied Astrology yearly forecasts for each sign go in depth with the most important transits, offering embodied suggestions for making the most of the opportunities and working skillfully with the challenges. You can order your 2025 reading by clicking the link below. If my work benefits you and you want to help me keep giving these monthly readings for free or help keep all of our offerings at EA financially accessible and sliding scale, please take a moment right now to like, follow, and subscribe to our channels. This is the #1 way you can help us grow. This season's horoscopes are intuitive offerings for each sign of the zodiac. I hope that they serve and support you in some way. Listen for your sun, moon, and rising signs. And remember that not everything is for everyone, so take what works, leave the rest, and make the meaning that's most meaningful for you. Thanks for being here. Onto your horoscope. Hello, Leo. Welcome to Capricorn season. Capricorn season finishes out 2024 and brings us into 2025. It is a season that asks us to review and to be with the past as we move towards the future. Capricorn as an energy is an energy that definitely has a lot of ambition and future orientation inside of it, but it is also an energy that is deeply aware of history and precedent, and in many ways is committed to preservation and conservation. So Capricorn is an energy that is really different than Leo. Both Leo and Capricorn are extremely powerful signs, but the ways that they express power are remarkably different. Leo expresses power through fire, through big displays, and through expression, spontaneity, creativity, generative kind of heat. Capricorn expresses power through mountains, right? Like building something slowly over time with force, conviction, integrity, and commitment. Both Leo and Capricorn are very loyal signs, and they both have a lot of fortitude. And though they are very different, they are also in some ways very aligned. Where Capricorn lives in the Leo solar chart is in what's called the 6th house. And this is the place of everyday affairs. This is the place of failures, and this is the place of service and devotion. We find good information here about your health and your well-being and your responsibilities and your jobs and the ways that you labor and all of the ways that you have to meet life as life is constantly lifing, which means that it's falling apart and needing to be put back together, and it's getting messy and needing to get cleaned up, and you have to take care of things all the time in an ongoing way, and sometimes it's just not glamorous. Over the last 16 years, the outer planet Pluto has been in Capricorn, and this is the first year that Pluto is no longer going to be in Capricorn. Pluto has made its ingress into Aquarius. Aquarius is your opposite sign. It is a really big deal that Pluto is now opposing Leo. But before I get there, I'm going to say we got to look at the past. The last 16 years of Pluto in Capricorn have been a time of really significant testing for Leo. You have been tested on so many levels. Your perseverance, your commitment, your integrity, your fortitude have all been tested. You have been tested on the elements of your personality and spirit that have to do with your larger devotions and commitments. You have needed to really do some excavation and transformation of the ways that you might have been embodying loyalties to ideas and institutions and forces of systemic oppression, and you were unconscious of that. There may be ways that you have been harboring feelings inside of your body or narratives inside of your mind that have kept you unseeing of your own power or unwilling to actualize within it. And over these last 16 years, you've had to fight with that. You've had to figure out how to transform the ways that you deal with your body and your health and your labor and the investments of your time and your energy and your attention. You have had to transform your day-to-day so that in some ways, in as many ways as you could have actually worked with, your day-to-day is more aligned with your values and with your deepest knowing of who you are and what's important to you than it was 16 years ago. And that has been a project since 2008. And that project is now complete on some level. Doesn't mean that you're not going to have to care for your health or your responsibilities or your day-to-day. It never stops. But the focus and the intensity of your concentration in what I'm going to say are the logistics of your life and how your life is lifing, that focus is shifting now. And as Pluto moves into Aquarius, the intensity of your focus is moving towards relationships. And I talked to you a lot about this in your Sagittarius season horoscope. I'm going to talk to you so much about it in your 2025 year ahead. So definitely make sure that you tune in there. But in Capricorn season, the emphasis on relationships is really something that you are feeling. And I think a lot of you come into this season in a place of negotiation and renegotiation. There are relational issues on the table for you that feel like a big pot of spaghetti. There's all these different noodles, right? Entangled with all these other noodles. And you're like, wow, it's all there. It's all mixed up. And let's just stay with my strange metaphor. I don't know why I'm using it, but let's stay with it and say that you are a playful Leo and you like to play with your food and you want to pull one noodle out, right, and make a little design with it and then pull another one out. And there's something that you're trying to do to organize the chaos of the intermixing. Take what works, leave the rest, right? Make the meaning that's meaningful for you. The pot of spaghetti is your relationships. It is the stuff of relationships where things get layered over time. And the ways that you have built long-term commitments with people are full of all kinds of things that you said or they said way back when, and promises that were never kept, or agreements that no longer feel comfortable, and ideas that you have for your own future that deviate from someone else's ideas about their future, but guess what? You share money. There is like a lot of stuff that you are trying to sort through in the landscape of your relationships right now. And a lot of this stuff is yours to sort through. It's your energy. It's your feelings. It's your baggage. And then there's all the stuff that they're bringing that they need to sort through and that you need them to be attending to so that when you're together, the sorting that's happening can be supported by the ways that each of you are doing your own work to work with your own stuff. And this is the theme that I'm feeling kind of dominates the mood as we enter into Sagittarius season. Now we're moving towards a Capricorn new moon on December 30th. And this is a new moon that is really marking the passage of Pluto through Capricorn and now the space that Pluto has left. The feeling I have for this new moon and for you, Leo, is you have learned something in the last 16 years about how you don't want to be working. Underscore on the negative affirmation. You don't need to do it the same way anymore. How you don't want to be working is overworking, pushing your body past its capacity, pushing your mind while it's stressed out, pushing yourself emotionally to be present or ready for things that you're not actually present or ready for. How you don't want to be working anymore is through punishment and the idea of self-negation if you aren't able to do X, Y, or Z. the mini narratives that I'm sure that you have in your mind about how you're a quote unquote bad person if you don't do something, or, you're going to be punished. Who knows how, who knows by who, but definitely something bad is going to happen if you do something or don't do something or something like that. So you don't want to work in certain ways anymore. And that means that there are other ways that you do really want to be working. And I don't know what some of those specifics are for you. They definitely have to do with your personal life and what you're working on. But I will say that regardless of what you're working on, your ability to love yourself inside of it is paramount. And I've said this a million times before. I'm sure you've said this a million times before. Loving ourselves is not giving ourselves Hallmark cards and like hall passes for all kinds of misbehavior. It's not bypassing the actual impact that we have or the harm that we can do. Loving ourselves is holding ourselves with accountability and holding ourselves in an arc of a big picture, being able to understand what kinds of impact might be moving through us and why. Being able to hold the ways that we have also been harmed and be tender to the process that it takes in order to work with those influences so that we don't perpetuate them. Loving ourselves is also really literal. It can look like putting your hand on your heart and telling yourself that you love yourself. And any practices that you can do right now that infuse you in your body, in your mind, in your spirit with a sense of self-love are so helpful. And I'm going to say that that is an absolutely essential component of the work that needs to happen on your end in order to sort out the spaghetti of your relationships. When you are practicing loving yourself daily, you are practicing regulating your nervous system. You are practicing the pathways of return when you get activated. So if you're having a conversation and somebody says a thing and it makes you feel threatened, your bodily response is going to be to respond to threat. And depending on your levels of trauma or practice or whatever, how you respond to threat could often be how you make a problem worse, how you react or overreact in ways that shut something down or that escalate. If we cannot love ourselves, we can't hold ourselves in the moments of feeling activated or threatened or uncertain. And it's really important to be able to discern right now in the world, and certainly with ourselves and in our personal relationships. It is so important to be able to discern the difference between actual danger and discomfort. If you are actually in danger, your body needs to be able to respond quickly. You need to be able to fight or flee or go into a freeze response or fawn or whatever is going to get you out of the situation the best. If you're in actual danger, you need to be able to respond in a good way, in a skillful way. Now, actual danger situations also are benefited from your practice of self-love. When we are able to build neural pathways of holding ourselves and coming back to ourselves, what we are also able to do is expand our options. What threat does to our systems biologically is narrows the options. We look for the way out. Not all situations will be served by that, especially the situations that aren't actually dangerous, but just uncomfortable. And a lot of you are in some landscapes of discomfort right now. And you need to have conversations that are about money and power and things that feel really hard to talk about because they're murky and emotional, and you like feel that they're there, but you don't really have the language for them, but it feels really vulnerable to talk about them. A lot of you are ready to grow in some really significant ways in your relationships. And in order for you to grow, you have to make some space. And that could be really uncomfortable. That could feel threatening. And in some ways, it might be dangerous to forms that have already been established. But I'm going to say that it might be a necessary danger. It might be a place that you actually need to show up to with bravery and with courage and with heart forwardness in order for something new to happen. And so during this period of time, as we move into Capricorn season and towards the new year, please, my Leo friends, your cats, you need to pet yourself. You need to cuddle yourself. You need to hold yourself. You need to feed yourself. You need to soothe yourself. And you need to remember how you don't want to be working, and therefore how you do want to be working. And the best ways, or some of the best ways for you to clarify between what you don't want to do and what you do want to do is the outcome in relationships. The outcome when you hate yourself and are overworking is that you build relational agreements that suck. The outcome when you take the time to love yourself and to work in ways that are actually responsible to your own energy and capacity is that you build relationships where there's honesty and accountability, and that is way better. That's the better option. Take it slow. Love yourself. This is important work. As we get past the new moon, Mercury is leaving its retrograde shadow. So Mercury was retrograde in your fellow fire sign of Sagittarius. I talked to you about that last season. As Mercury leaves its shadow and we move into the new year, creative energy is opening up for you. I think a lot of you are feeling kind of excited about something, even though it's a period of time on Earth that feels wildly chaotic as well. And this is a really cool time for you to be expressing yourself creatively. This is a powerful time for you to be communicating. But I will say that Mars, right around this time, is opposing Pluto. Mars is about to leave Leo and retrograde back into Cancer. And so I do want you to be careful with your communications. This is not a great moment to pick a fight. This is a good moment to reveal that something is happening and that you want to have a process about it. But again, in order for you to get the outcomes that you want to have, you want to be working with empathy, with attunement, with self-love, with patience, and with process. So if something is feeling off for you, particularly in the realms of relationship and partnership, take some deep breaths. Give it a moment. I read a quote, I'll probably misquote right now, by Thich Nhat Hanh the other day that said, if you're in a conflict with someone, if you're really angry with them, think about where they'll be in 500 years, which is dust, and you will too, right? So that kind of like big arc of time perspective might help if things feel really acute. And this is a time of a lot of activation, so please be careful about how you are expressing yourself and how you're putting your energy out. If you are expressing yourselves in ways that are about caring for the collective well-being, if you're expressing yourselves in ways that are tender, transparent, authentic, honest, that is going to get you much better results than expressing yourselves in ways that are bombastic, arrogant, argumentative, or like reckless. Avoid that right now, even though some of y'all are ready for it. Moving into January then, as Mars retrogrades from Leo back into Cancer, the water element becomes the predominant force. And for all fire signs, water is your counterbalance, right? Water puts the fire out. And depending on your personal chart and what you have going on in water, it may or may not be an elemental kind of energy that you're very comfortable with or familiar with how to be working with. And Leo is an optimistic, enthusiastic sign. Leo likes to party. Leo is the cheerleader of the zodiac. Leo rules the heart and the spine. It wants to be full. It wants to be dignified. It wants to be shining. And it looks like a lot of rain. It looks like a lot of energy that wants to pull us down and in, which is what the intelligence of water does. And so I'm going to say that this may also be a period of time when some of you are really confronted by some big feelings. And these could be your feelings, or these could be other people's feelings, or this could be the sentiment in the world in general. There is so much grief in our collective consciousness that is only accumulating, where one tragedy happens and then another one happens immediately, and there's not time to process or mourn, much less recover. And there is a backlog of grief. And the backlog of grief can often lead to the kind of fiery, reckless conflict fights that are so prevalent right now. And what you can do as a person who has made it this far in this horoscope, so you're somebody who wants to work on yourself, what you can do is take time to feel your feelings. And as Mars retrogrades back into Cancer, again, it won't be stationing direct until the end of February. This is a cue for you to feel your feelings and to allow yourself some space of internal reflection, of solitude, and also spiritual support. This is a really great time for you to tune in with your ancestors, with your guides, with your guardians, with your helping and healing spirits. A great time for you to remember, again, the long arc of time. What's happening now is happening because of so much that has already happened and will lead to so much that has yet to happen. How do you want to show up for this moment in your sentiment and in your presence? If you give yourself space and time to be with what you're feeling, you're going to be able to show up with more skill, more discernment, more capacity, etc. On January 13th, we have a full moon in Cancer. This is definitely a full moon that is highlighting big feelings in the world and definitely in your chart. There are situations that need you to work them out internally. As I said before, part of what is trying to get sorted out in the big mix of things needs you to do your own sorting. And this is definitely a full moon that is asking for that. And whatever is coming up at this time will benefit so greatly from practices that you have that bring you into a place of presence with your own body, love for your own spirit, and care and awareness of all of the mini beings that are totally part of you. So your body is fed and nourished and actually formed by the earth. And the reason that you're here has to do with millions of people. And your spirit is a mystery. But we know that your spirit is expansive and that your spirit is part of a much larger energy of whatever this greater mystery is that we are all part of. And if you can tune in with that kind of energy and allow yourself to rest inside of it and feel supported and nourished and claimed by it, then I'm going to say that this period of time could be so healing for you, really clarifying and really helpful in terms of understanding how you want to organize and reorganize your personal energy and relational patterns in order to build something in the future that is only just starting to make itself known as available. All right, Leo, I'm going to leave it there. I hope that any or all of that feels helpful and supportive for you in Capricorn season in 2025 and beyond. Bye for now. Thanks so much for listening to your Capricorn season reading. If this horoscope resonated for you, please show your support by liking, following, and subscribing, and by sharing this work with your friends and community. And if you want more, don't forget to order your 2025 year ahead reading, where I go in depth with the big picture and main themes of this year for your sun, moon, and rising signs. This season, I hope you'll join me for Somatic Space, which is a class I offer every Monday where we prepare ourselves to work with the astrology of the week ahead through gentle healing body practices, breathwork, meditation, and visualization. You can drop in once to try it out, or if you become a member, you'll also get access to the past classes video archive, as well as Tea Time, which is a monthly meetup and conversation space where we learn and share how astrology is moving through our lives. You can find more information about working with me and other embodied astrology events in the show notes or through the study section at embodiedastrology.com. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks for listening and engaging. I truly hope to see you in an embodied astrology space soon. Bye for now.